out of this event is that the event organizers are calling for students, if they're interested, to call on their university administrators to consider organizing a course about climate change solutions, climate change mitigation and adaptation, and clean energy issues for all students in all disciplines across the entire university. And imagine if we were training students about helping to solve these urgent issues, what kind of transformation that could possibly bring about. So I really love that the organizers of this webinar are bringing up this issue. So I have to let a whole bunch of people right now, and then I'm going to go back to, let's see. Okay, I think I might have accidentally muted somebody, but sorry for that if I did. So before we start with our speakers, and we have 3 exciting speakers today, representing a range of expertise. We have Dr. Ejid Kalisa. He's a lecturer at the University of Rwanda. He's a research associate at the Center of Excellence in Biodiversity and Natural Resource Management. He's a postdoc research fellow in the Center for Urban Environments at University of Toronto in Canada. And he's also a graduate of our programs at University of Rwanda, a bachelor's programs. And we also have Dr. Patrice Habinshuti. He's the Chief Operation Officer for Envisage Rwanda, and he's also a partner with University of Rwanda in innovation. I think he might speak more about this during his presentation time. And then we also have Ms. Grace Ineza. She's also a graduate of University of Rwanda program, and she's the founder and executive director of Green Fighter, and she is a youth leader for environmental NGOs, and I can say that she has a tremendous amount of energy around the topics we're going to be talking about today. So in order to get started today, I'm going to share the screen with my colleague Daniel, who's with the center, and then he's going to show us a short video which provides the platform for this global event, and then we're going to turn it over to the speakers. So welcome, Daniel.
Welcome to the Solve Climate Global Dialogues. You're participating in one of 125 events held across the planet, including in almost all 50 U.S. states, part of a global project called Solve Climate by 2030. My name is Eben Goodstein, and I'm an economist and director of the Graduate Programs in Sustainability at Bard College in New York, the lead organizer for Solve Climate. This last year has been difficult for everyone. As the world looks forward to recovery from COVID, we are focusing tonight on the most important question facing humanity. What can we do in this year in our regions to help solve climate change while supporting struggling communities that have faced widespread loss of life, economic disaster, and joblessness? Worldwide, from Australia to Kyrgyzstan, from Colombia to Malaysia, and from South Carolina to South Africa, Solve Climate audiences are hearing from local experts and young leaders about concrete steps that can really help nations solve climate change while creating much-needed jobs and incomes for everybody. The year 2020 was one of the 2 hottest years in human history, bringing with it massive forest and grassland fires, record-breaking storms and hurricanes, and relentless rising seas. Solving climate is the challenge which the human species must now face. There's hope for the future. Solutions have continued to advance. This year, China committed to building a carbon-neutral economy, while the U.S. rejoined the Paris Agreement. Solar, wind, and battery prices continue to fall, while major car companies have been rushing to electrify the global fleet. Worldwide, movements for Black Lives Matter and Me Too are leading in bringing much delayed and urgently needed justice to the world. Time is short. We have until 2030, 10 years to solve climate. We can get a lot done in this decade. We have the solutions, but only if we focus the world on climate solutions and justice, and then do the work we have to do in our own cities and regions. For students listening, you are the leaders. Without you, the future we envision will not come. I'm asking tonight for your help. We're going to discover powerful ideas for climate solutions and climate justice and how you can be a part of the solution. But this message must reach beyond those of us who are listening right now. Would you ask all your teachers this week in every subject to make climate a class? The teacher can assign tonight's webinar's homework for the students and then afterwards have a one-class period discussion. And we mean every subject, from art to engineering, psychology to business, dance to chemistry. Teachers don't need to be a climate expert to lead a discussion about climate change. The Solve Climate project has easy-to-use teacher's guides in nearly every subject and in 3 languages to help teachers make climate relevant to their class. It only takes courage. Don't take no for an answer. Ask them, why not? This is your future. You'll be surprised how many teachers will say yes and thank you. Imagine you, thousands of leaders like you around the world asking their teachers once every school term to make climate a class. That means every term going forward, hundreds of thousands, millions of students worldwide in their classes talking about climate solutions. COVID has shown how fragile our global economy and society are to extreme events. It's also shown that vulnerable people are facing the hardest, most damaging impacts. This is also true with climate change. Science has made it clear that unchecked, global warming will mean an unending onslaught of extreme events, causing untold suffering for humanity and all creatures, species driven to extinction, a planet of environmental refugees. And yet, in many ways, this is the most exciting time to ever be alive as a human. We have the tools and networks and technologies to rewire the world with clean energy, reimagine the global food system, reinvent transportation, and regenerate forests and grasslands, and be well on our way to solving climate by 2030. Tonight, we will learn how to do this in our own cities, our own towns, our own regions. Thank you for the work you will do to promote climate solutions and a just world.
Right, thank you. Thank you, Daniel, for bringing that to us, and thanks everyone for listening. I found that to be really inspiring, and I know that the speakers we've got lined up today are going to continue inspiring us. That hashtag, Make Climate a Class, we can use that to spread that around as well. I think it's just a brilliant idea. Before we get started, I'm going to invite our first speaker. I just want to acknowledge the great work that the team who organized this from our center to get all these speakers and the video organized. We'll be sharing the video with you. So I really appreciate our staff for getting this organized. So once again, I'm really grateful for the speakers that agreed to talk here. And I'm going to start by inviting Dr. Ajit Kalisa. He's going to have about 10 minutes, and he's going to talk to us about what he can tell us about climate solutions. Here we go. And great, thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Perfect.
Thanks for everyone, and thanks for the center to organize this important event. And today I'll talk about green transportation and climate change. So first of all, why do you have to care? The carbon dioxide is increasing dramatically, and this is a path for greenhouse gases because it can stay in the atmosphere for more than 200 years. So we need clean air, we need clean water, we need animals, we need children, and we need people. This is the map showing the number of mortality caused by the climate change. You can see in Africa and other low-income countries that are mostly affected. And if you look at some of the key factors of this, you find that between 2030 to 2050, climate change is also expected to cause approximately around 250,000 additional deaths caused by malnutrition, malaria, and so on. Air pollution is linked with also climate change, and almost 7 million die every year from air pollution, from dirty fuel. So, and then Africa, like other low-income countries, are mostly affected. So, reducing this emission of greenhouse gases, it's through better transport, food, energy use will improve our health, particularly through reducing air pollution. So, what is the green transportation? So, when we talk about green transportation, it's a concept and a practice specifically referring to the convenient, safe, and efficient low pollution. However, this is more about only low carbon or environmental traveling mode, but also turning to health and leisure. So, this is a green transportation pyramid. You can see the transport system, it's a major contributor of these greenhouse gases, where around 23 of the world energy reduced greenhouse gases actually caused by the transport emission. So there's quite importance of benefits of these green cars or green vehicle, being cheaper to land, decreasing the greenhouse gases, as well as reduce expensive money we spend on importation of this oil. In Rwanda, transport is also among the major contributors of air pollution and greenhouse gases. And if you look, the urban population of Rwanda is expanding rapidly. If you can count from 1950 to 2050, it's increasing dramatically. And this is actually very clear if I use this map of Kigali. For 90s, this is where population of Kigali were living. After some years ago, it expanded. By 2010, it expanded again. By 2020, which actually are now, it is expanding. Increase of urbanization is associated with the increase of these emissions. So while London and Tokyo and Shanghai as well is all known from subway, Amsterdam and Copenhagen for cycling, Bogota for bus rapid transit, Kigali also could be a city where policymakers could actually look for experience for the use of electrical vehicle, especially for use of e-motorbike. What is now the e-mobility context in Rwanda? So, of course, we have around 200,000 registered vehicles in Rwanda, and mostly are in Kigali. Very recently, the government of Rwanda announced the use of electrical vehicle, and you're all aware that we are selling Volkswagen cars here in Kigali, and very recently, the e-motor has full operating in Kigali. My research with other colleagues, we found while in Kigali, where the use of electrical motorbike can be used 100%, for by 2025, it may prevent around 70 kilotons of carbon dioxide with other benefits. But most important, we save around 9 billion of money, which we used to spend for the oil importation. There are quite different policies established by the government of Rwanda. August 2019, President of the Republic of Rwanda announced the government support for replacement combustion engine motorbike. In 2016, there was this Discovery Day policy where 1 year later has been scheduled for twice a month. February 2020, the Ministry of Infrastructure held an event with the IGC for scaling up use with this electrical mobility, and there are quite several policies around the use of this e-mobility, especially through the recent updated NDC. They quite use quite of measures, especially which outline the electrical vehicle as emission standard importation. Now, we can't monitor what we don't measure. So, and this is actually a private observatory project which we have in Musanze. It monitors all types of the greenhouse gases. We have different air quality stations around the country where we do monitoring and then to see if these policies are being effective. This is the graph which shows actually one of the effectiveness of the car-free day policy, which is not only for mass exercise. You can see in the last 3 years, the red line, it's the Sunday where there's no car-free day, and the green line, it's where there is a car-free day. So during all of the 3 years, this has been reduced air pollution around 15%. Now, you can imagine what is the other benefit of such reduction. Using the natural experiment as well of COVID-19 lockdown, you can see around March last year to April and May, where we're in a full lockdown, all the transport activity has been decreased up to 80%. So what is the consequence? You may find that during the full lockdown, air pollution, particularly those of the greatest health concern, have been significantly reduced. But after the lockdown, you find it's increasing again. So the benefit of this car-free day policy, it's not only of this reduction of in air pollution or mass exercise. We found that using the model, it can save a lot of disability, just delay years life saved, respiratory hospital admission avoided. It's quite a lot of importance. So, and this can tell through this photo which show the blue sky, especially before COVID and during COVID. I'll focus on the last one, which I took myself. You can see how you can tell the visibility using the COVID-19 lockdown. Before, it was not clear, but you can see during the full lockdown how the sky were really clear. And this tells how a human activity are clearly linked to the pollution we are emitting now. This is, I would say that children are particularly important because being short, breathing the air than adults, as well as having developing lungs, are more affected. And this is the project I'm doing around the school, looking how the air pollution status at the school, especially during the drop-off and the pickup, where we find thousands of cars are idling next to the classroom. And this will bring the policy how to start to use this green transportation, especially at the school. And of course, we need to involve these children in climate change research. And then you can see where I used to work with different children around Kigali, trying to show how this transportation with dirty fuel can cause impact not only on their health as well as on the climate. And then I think children are the one as well, they have to make that, they have to be part of the solution, not part of the problems. So now here there's the question, how can we make our city healthier? So this COVID-19, it has given the picture that we can still invest in a green project because we found different change where there was no transportation around the city. So we need to develop this sustainable and carbon neutral method. We need to advance this technology which offer alternative. We need to introduce these concepts of sustainable transport. And then we have as well to identify a way in which our attitudes toward the travel could be altered. So, this is when we talk about green transportation, not only focusing on cars. We found that planting trees around the city has several benefits because apart from releasing the oxygen, it stops climate change by moving the carbon dioxide. So absorb this pollutant. And this is map show where they have the green space in Kigali. We found that we still need more green space because even those we have one, they are not connected. So how this will happen? It starts with you have to get involved. Actually, this is a photo where I was starting building a national, let's say, a park in my campus. This is where I stay now. I'm speaking. I'm trying also to be part of the solution, planting some trees around the city. So, what are the recipes for a green city? Of course, we need more electrical vehicles. We need greener public transport initiative. We need to change our attitude. Car sharing, walking, especially when you're walking for a shorter distance, taking bus or public transport, as well as we still need more green space. You have to connect them. And of course, we need to invest in research and then engage the public and politicians. And of course, we need money to achieve this green city. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, AG. That was really great. And I really appreciate that you left us with specific solutions. I hope that those of you listening have paper and pencil in front of you so you can take notes or on your device. And we're going to be having question and answer at the end of this session. So without delaying, I'm going to go on to the next speaker in this session. I'm going to welcome Dr. Patrice Habibshuti. He's going to come and talk to us now. Yeah, you're going to share the screen. Great. Okay, and I'm just going to turn it over to you, Patrice.
Thank you very much, Professor Beth Kaplan. It's a pleasure to actually be here and participate in this very inspiring event or series of events, because it's happening globally, and put Rwanda as well on the global map, and I thank you for actually actively doing that. As you said, I will briefly introduce myself. My name is Patrice Habibshuti. I have a PhD in management, but also I am the CEO of Envisage Rwanda. So it's a partner of the University of Rwanda. Previously, I've been working with various entrepreneurship development organizations here in the country, including the Rwanda Business Development Center, Wadwani Foundation, which is partnering also with the University of Rwanda to teach entrepreneurship course. And this a very good opportunity to talk about a new concept that is known as green entrepreneurship. As we teach young people to embrace the culture of creating their own businesses, it's worth it to actually focus on a new concept that is really inspiring them or empowering them to create jobs, but also being mindful of this challenge or this very big problem that Dr. Ejid was talking about. So I will have some talking lines here, interaction areas, but I meant it would be an interaction, but later we can have that interaction. Being someone in the entrepreneurship development system, we all know that as the universities produce more people, more graduates, the chances for employment are being very, very, very small. And all of us, we are in a movement to actually move from actually telling these graduates that they will have a job, but telling them that they have to create a job. So students here in the room really understand what I mean. And even by the statistics, we have seen that unemployment rate in Rwanda is becoming very high as years go by. And now we have like 19.4% of youth unemployment. And when you see university graduates, you will see that they are like, as the education level increases, the unemployment increases as well. So this is a situation that we have right now. But we say that the solution is through youth entrepreneurship, and this youth entrepreneurship is consists of like youth creating your own companies, youth creating like jobs, what we call self-employment and job creation. And this is an area of great need and current most significant trend that we have. But let's talk about green entrepreneurship. So the concept of green entrepreneurship, it's when we have to shift now to this concept of creating businesses that protect the environment, that mitigate climate change, and enable a sustainable future. Most of us, we have been into this concept of production, or this concept of entrepreneurship, and we are using methods that sometimes or most of the time destroy the environment. And these methods are actually harming our earth, like our world and our future. So shifting to green entrepreneurship is something that we have to embrace, not tomorrow, but today. And the factors that we can use now include like entrepreneur training, but combined with environmental awareness. Like as we teach entrepreneurship, as we train people, as we actually encourage everyone to start something, let's also be mindful to integrate this concept of an environmental awareness as people take the entrepreneurial action. So we train people, we make them aware of this environmental degradation or all the problems that, for example, Dr. Ejid talked about. And then we move to this entrepreneurial action, but combined with like protecting the environment. And when we think about this, we can ask ourselves, are young people today encouraged and supported to pursue green entrepreneurship? And I can say that this is a very, very big question, though it might seem so simple. When we see, we can here see this picture of how the climate change is transforming the business environment. If we talk about business, we talk about entrepreneurship. So when we actually damage the environment, we tend to have this weakened production capacity. Here we are talking about like the future, but the future is so soon in a way that if we don't act today, then our tomorrow might be bad. And we have the resource scarcity because we have depleted all the resources today by like this mass production that damage the environment using these unfriendly ways. And then tomorrow we are likely to face the resource capacity that we will actually, what can I say? So we will tomorrow lack the resources for the production. For example, if you are in agriculture, and today you are using like chemical fertilizers, you are using all these ways that will lead to environmental or soil degradation, and tomorrow you will not be able to produce because you will have damaged the soil. So we will have new stakeholder demands. This is something that we have to anticipate if we don't take action today. So we have increased the capital and operational cost because we will need like to make a lot of effort to continue to produce, resulting from the error that we might be making today as entrepreneurs, as people doing business. So we have to anticipate that. And then we have reduced the demand for goods and services. So these are all the things that like climate change is giving us in terms of like how it is transforming the business environment. So let's look at this in a concrete way. Dr. Ejid was talking about like green transportation, but here is the like estimated cost of damage to the environment by various business sectors as we talk today. We can see three like broad areas. One is utilities. The way we are like doing in terms of like producing our utilities now, like it is costing like $420 billion. So the basic materials, it's like $312 billion. Then consumer goods, it is $281 billion. And you can see like some of the areas, there are too many areas, but we can see like greenhouse gases with $104 billion. So we can see like various oil and gas, $175 billion. So there are various areas, but it is costing all this amount of money to us, like the cost of the damage to the environment. Like how, like the spending, like all these things that we spend, but we could avoid this. So we can avoid all this by actually using methods that are not even complicated for us as entrepreneurs. So when we talk about green entrepreneurship, it's not a strange thing that cannot be understood. It's like whatever you are doing, you can do it, and we can see like the product life cycle and any product or service that we produce, we can embed this concept in the way we do things. For example, like in like recycling of the containers that like we use in the packaging, so we protect the environment. Like if we promote recycling container in cooperation with customers and industry organizations, you have your customers, and then if you can recycle your containers, then it's like something that you will be doing as part of this initiative of green entrepreneurship. In the area of planning and development, you can plan and develop products that consider the environment. In the procurement, green procurement prioritizes the use of materials and ingredients that have low environmental impact. So you can even do that in your business. In production, you can actually produce in plants, like production plants that coexist with the environment. You know, like the factories, I mean. So in distribution, you can reduce the environmental impact through efficient transport, what Egide was talking about. So in a sense, we see like this activity for heat pump vending machines or installing empty that can collect empty can that can collect boxes. So there are like various areas that we can consider, but also consumption and disposal. All this that we as entrepreneurs produce, give customers, and then customers can also have their impact to the environment as the end users. So there is all this cycle that we have to take care of, and there is like all that we have to consider, think about the environmental risk management by like preventing environmental pollution, accident, and even technological development in our world. So we are using technology, and we can also think about that, how this technology or technological development can reduce environmental impact. So, and then our challenge, if I have to really be brief, this solve climate challenge in the area of green entrepreneurship, we can actively get involved by supporting young people in acquiring multidisciplinary skills, including entrepreneurship, digital skills, even multicultural competencies, and environmental awareness, and we can improve their prospect and reduce the risk of social and economic exclusion of young people with sustainability, like increasing like these job creation efforts, but also thinking about the sustainability, how every activity undertaken by these young people, by graduates, by students, can also be done with this environmental aspect in mind for a better tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Patrice. I really appreciate that inspiring talk about directly working with students. Thank you. So again, we hold our discussion until the end, but do feel free to put your questions or comments into the chat, and I think those have already done that. And now we're going to move on to our final speaker. I want to invite Grace Ineza to take over the screen. So Patrice, unshare, and then welcome Grace. So you can go ahead and, I don't know if you need to no, you're just going to, good. Okay, so I'm just going to turn it over to you, and we're looking forward to hearing from you, and then we're going to open it up for overall discussion. So again, thanks so much, Grace, and welcome. Let's hear from you. Can you unmute?
Okay. Now can you hear me? Okay. Hi everyone, and thank you for the invitation. I'm so sorry I don't have any cool presentation to show.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, fine. So I'm here to talk about the climate justice and hope to address our loss and damage. You just have to bear with me, you follow as I go, and if I'm speaking quickly, please don't hesitate to tell me to slow down. So loss and damage is a term that does not have any clear definition under the International Framework on Climate Change. It was in the beginning, in the middle of the 90s, when a small island state brought this term in the United Nations framework, when they were trying to really showcase that the global warming have residual impact to their community, to their citizens. Since then until now, the process was slow, and during the Paris Agreement, by we I mean still this developed country, a small island, managed to have the articulation of loss and damage in the Paris Agreement under its Article 8. And today, loss and damage can be defined as the climate impact that neither mitigation nor adaptation is possible in protecting the community. Loss and damage are the current normal in developing and developed countries, and youth are already sharing their concern and engagement for the future. From the past presenters, you can see how in the education, in the business, everywhere we want to really make sure that the climate knowledge, climate understanding is disseminated in the next generation, which is really a good step forward in trying to manage to bring up the solution to our current crisis. So the current impact of loss and damage and the inability of the states to address and protect their community can be defined as a major a result of a long-term inequality in the climate justice world. By this I mean access on education, access on finance, access on infrastructure, access on energy, even on the communication. So right now, that's why we are having the inequality about the impact of the climate change in the world. But and also when we are trying to make the negotiation, the negotiation room, when we are trying to elevate the need, is some points are not important as the others. This, for example, can be taken with the fact that until right now, there's no clear even there's no even a clear definition of what we mean by climate finance. And this not only harden the engagement in trying to honor the commitment of the past, but it also impact the increase of the ambition in the future generation of all the leaders. So 2020 was there, where we learned that the concept that we have one planet was more clearly, not only because COVID, but also because everyone was had like the pleasure to be in a lockdown. To wear a face mask. We got this. I have a friend of mine. She used to joke, and she was like, "I never thought that I could wear a mask living in Rwanda. I thought that would be something that I can be having when I'm living in China." And by the fact telling her that now she's wearing a mask as someone in China and someone from South Africa and everywhere, is like we all share the common planet. So it's really clear. But again, 2020, as has been mentioned, it is the year that was really hot, if I can say. The climate change impact or challenges were much more profound in some of the areas. For example, now the United States of America is experiencing heat waves, which is something new. The Philippines is a country that is experiencing consecutive several typhoons, which is a very like the magnitude is the biggest recorded yet. And Rwanda is having now flood washing away our land. Australia is having a bushfire, and Kilimanjaro was on fire. And we lost around 1 billion animals. So there are a lot of examples of what is happening in terms of climate impacts. And then on the top of everything, we have people losing life, we have gender inequality being enhanced, and we have more youth not able to afford education, and the global economy is shaking, country ability to recover. But likely now we want to recover, but recover in a green way, which is like the biggest hope that we are currently having. So coming from Rwanda, where the words such as losing hope, giving up, or impossible is not present in our dictionary. In 2020, the summer of 2020, along with the global youth, we started coming together in order to share our piece of concern in terms of having like a climate justice world. So we started by sharing our open letter to the UK COP26 cabinet, because they're the one holding the next big climate summit, and we make sure that we are conveying our voices as one. So we are the youth from the global north and the global south perspective, and we understand that we are the one to come up with solution. So our demands are straightforward. We want countries to honor their commitments. We want loss and damage to be a priority as something that is happening right now. It's not something that is happening in the future. And also we wanted the process to be inclusive for the youth and women and other marginalized groups. And also we want a new window for financing loss and damage. The reason why we have these top 4 priorities is because is what we think, we as the global youth, what we think as the good starting point to breed our hope we see and to shape it in a sense that will make us feel proud to tell our children that we did everything that we can to deliver to them a healthy planet for their future. So we want to do this in giving the opportunity for the youth to share their voices, to train them to be the next expert and leaders, and also taking action on the ground in a harmonic way. I don't have much to say, but in closing, I would like to say that to solve climate by 2030, we need to admit the past mistakes and recognize their impact today, and together apply a system that works for everyone, regardless of their economic status. And the climate justice is not a political study. It's not a political movement or anything, it should not be treated as such. It is a humanitarian call. It's something that is affecting everyone, regardless where we are coming from, and each and everyone should participate, and together we can create a stable future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Grace. Really appreciate that. Really profound and inspiring statements from you. Thank you. So I'm grateful for people that have been already putting questions and comments in the chat. So now we're moving to the discussion portion of this webinar. And I welcome people to put your, I think you can put a hand up. Yeah, you can put a hand up if you want to ask a question, and then it means you can unmute. And in the down times or the quiet times, I will go ahead and read from what people have put into the chat. So before we get started, I want to acknowledge and thank the three speakers for staying within the time constraints and for really giving us a lot of information to digest and talk about. So the whole goal here is to have a really a deep discussion and conversation here. So I'm going to start with the first hand that I can see up, James Muhiri. I'd like to invite you to unmute, and you can go ahead and make a comment, ask a question of one or all of the speakers. Welcome, James.
Yes, Dr. Beth, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, thank you. My name is James Muhire from Rwanda, East Africa. I have two questions. First, I'll start with Dr. Patrice. My question would be on green entrepreneurship. Are there available opportunities for youth that, let's say, because I believe there are youth out there that have already started this, I would say, green companies. And my question would be, are there opportunities for these such innovators already? Because we've been talking of opportunities and then training them. So let's say there are those that have started their own companies or kind of startups. Are there those opportunities, and how can they tap into them? And then second, to presenter Ineza. Now you've talked of the demand as climate justice. You're submitting to the UN COP 2016 Secretariat. I truly believe it's not enough. Now my question would be, is there a possibility of doing more than submitting these demands? Let's say maybe are we getting engaged in some initiatives or green projects, like not to be on the complaining side, but rather be on the part of where we initiate solutions, such projects that bring up solutions to the issues that we are raising to the Secretariat. And then again to Ineza, green justice, how can, because most of us here are youth, how can we join and have a part in what you do at climate justice, and what are the kind of activities that you're doing in regards to environmental conservation? Thank you.
All right, I'll have Patrice answer the first part of that question, and then we can move to Grace.
Thank you very much for that wonderful question. And as we talk about green entrepreneurship, I want to say that young people have very high chances of even being more profitable by embracing green entrepreneurship. I'm talking about that because there are so many opportunities that are out there now, like considering green entrepreneurship. when you are in green entrepreneurship, then you will have more chances than anyone else. Like even those empowerment opportunities, I'm very pleased to be here in a very timely circumstance. Last week, there was a very interesting opportunity for young people in this green entrepreneurship, specializing mainly on agriculture side. It was the Youth and Agroecology National Caravan by Yalta. So I have seen Tasieria on this platform. For example, that is a concrete example of an organization or an initiative that is empowering young people through training or through also exposing them to various opportunities. And when we even arrive in talk about selling, you can see even that most of the market, global markets, are actually looking at products that are coming out of this concept of agroecology, also not using chemicals, whatever. So there is an opportunity for young people to go into those areas and produce and even export. So we have a lot of organization here, and we have many programs that support young people in entrepreneurship. Those as well, they can support young people in green entrepreneurship. So maybe for Tasia, are you here?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, this is meant to be a discussion, not really a conference where we talk alone. I've seen you here on the platform. Maybe you can step in and be able to answer or share insight about what you do as the organization.
Yeah, thank you so much, Patrice. Actually, this is a very nice discussion that can motivate youth to know that there is money in the green entrepreneurship. But you get money when you have that energy, when you have that passion to do it, because to make it a success, it requires a lot of energy, it requires personal commitments. In Yalta, we target to promote agroecology and youth empowerment. What we do, mainly for agroecology, we have a passion track where we discuss on some issues like market, like capacity building for youth, like standards for agroecology products. And the good thing is that the youth are there and they have already started their own businesses. And those who are already in the business, some are doing that, like waste management. They do produce packaged compost from crop residues from home, and others are doing agroforestry and do make money from these businesses. And some of the banks are willing to really give them money because they see the business as bankable businesses. Secondly, we still have like a challenge where there is no more evidence based on research, which is really a big gap for Rwanda, of which I really recommend or encourage researchers like Carissa and others from North Rwanda to really work hard on that. Because even the policymakers, they really agree on this green entrepreneurship, but again, they say that please give us the evidence, the fact that this can really be something that can really guide us to review the policy or strategies at country level, and then we can maybe provide some subsidy program for green entrepreneurship, maybe to see if they can provide some subsidy for compost or organic manure. And then this will try to increase the market share for those who are producing the products. So the caravan was very insightful because the youth, they get
time to learn from their fellow youth who are doing the processing, who are doing the production. But still, it's a process. You have to scale up these initiatives and encourage more youth to go in those businesses. And that is where we have, okay, maybe I can stop there.
Yeah. That's it. Like you gave like a very good perspective in terms of agriculture, agro-processing, all those areas. But I want to remind everyone as well as I conclude this on this question that green entrepreneurship can be anything. Carissa talked about green transportation. We have solutions that are out there that use technology that young people are coming up with that solve our transportation challenges by protecting the environment. We can have anything that we are doing, but apply like environmental protection concepts and then make it green. So the chance here or the secret here would be to let you know here as someone in the entrepreneurship development ecosystem that it's part of your innovation, the innovation description. Because when you describe your project and you put that as the innovation that you are having, everyone will understand how you are creating a sustainable future. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'd like to turn now to Grace to answer the other question that was raised.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I would like first to say thank you for the question, and also it's given me an opportunity to offer a bit of clarity what we are doing. So on the first part, on writing letters on how we are approaching leaders. So we don't want to be like the normal cliche of young activists that everyone knows, banners and signs, be like, no, we don't want this, we want this. We want to work together with the leaders to improve this, what is already happening and what is working, and try to change it together. So that's why we share a letter, for example, we share the first one to the UK COP26, but still be involved in their design of how they are trying to make sure that the next COP will be youth inclusive. So we work with them. We are present in their COP. And then on the other side, we want to train young people to be experts in negotiations, in climate leadership atmosphere. Because one of the major scenarios that we found out is that there is no enough youth representation in the room. And this is more profound in Global South youth representation. So what we are doing is that we are showing our faces out there, and then at the same time working with the experts. These are the senior negotiators from the Global North and the Global South, and they train a couple of youth to be the next leaders. So we are not trying to stop what is already happening. We just want to improve together with the leaders, and we work with them collectively. We collaborate with the people who know exactly the change that they want to see. We were just there to back it up and push it so that we reach that change as soon as possible by using a global youth momentum. Currently, we are operating in more than 45 countries, including Rwanda, and we have around 200 members. 15 are from Rwanda. So what we do is we try to make sure that across the globe there's somewhere, young people who understand the role that he or she needs to play in order to make a just a future where we protect our planet. So that's what we're trying to do. And because we're still young, we're still open on new ideas of how to improve this. If you have any, you can share. And on the second part of how we can, what we are currently doing, right now we are much concerned in our Global Day of Action, which will be on the 18th of April. So what we are going to do on that day is we are collecting stories of young people affected by the loss and damage in their location. So this can be in form of a story, in form of a blog, in form of a video, or an art, anything that a young person can produce. And then we are writing a letter to the USA administration because right now they're the big star in the climate negotiation because they're coming back to the Paris Agreement. But we want to make sure that they do understand that the youth are watching and the youth have a voice to say and the youth are sharing what they are concerned. And so after that, and also we are doing a couple of training because we are pretty aware that the topic of loss and damage, let it be climate negotiation or anything, is a kind of not open conversation in schools. So young people find themselves in the sector, but they do not have enough capacity building. So what we are doing right now is we are training young people, both in French and English, and people can join at any time. So basically that's what we're doing. And people can join. I can share the link in the chat how you can join, and also I can share our open letter. You can read and sign if you want. You can sign on an individual basis or on an organizational basis. And then on the top of that, because we are young people from all over the world, we're building a global partnership. So currently we have people designing project and program. But a program that will be operating not only in the global south country but also in the global north country. So our first trial is a project that we're designing to the beneficiaries, the University of Rwanda, but we are doing it along with the USA students, so that even because we know among us young people we have some knowledge to share. And we can read ourselves together. So that's what we are trying to build up. And hopefully, because we are engaged and committed, it will bring to a better future, and where everyone is invited to participate on an equal level. I don't know if I responded to everything.
Well, I think that was a great response, and I think it might bring up people wanting to know how they might be able to join you. So it would be great if you can add those links, Grace, so that people can check out how to join this initiative you're talking about. Those two questions, those two responses from Patrice and from Grace really brought up, I think, a lot of other issues. I see that Tassien has his hand up, but before I go to Tassien, I wanted to go to a question that was put into the chat from Deborah. She asked of Ajid, and I saw he responded in chat, but I want to read this so that maybe Ajid can respond to the whole group. Deborah asked about his presentation about green transportation and climate change mitigation. She's wondering if there will not be a major negative impact on aquatic ecosystems due to increased hydroelectric facilities to run the electric vehicles. What are your thoughts about this? And this is actually something I talked to my students about in a module I was teaching on natural resource management, where I caution them to think critically about alternate energy sources. For example, how are solar panels made? What materials are used to make solar panels? And when we're going to electric vehicles, how are the batteries for those vehicles made, and how are the waste materials handled? So let's hear from Ajid and see what he has to say in response to this great question. Ajid, over to you.
Thanks, Beth. As Deborah said, of course, there's quite a lot of technology going on, and you can't stop it. This comes the method we learn in primary school: 3R, reuse, recycle, and reduce. So of course we need always to make a balance. What are the benefits of initiating this technology? What are the consequences? And most of the time you have to look if the benefit outweigh the consequence. Even the electric cars itself, they may still have some of the effect, but does the benefit provide, like such as producing zero emissions? So we outweigh the impact to unless we could not just stop it, but we can try to work together. And this is where I come. more youth to be involved in the research, and then try to write the policy brief to these policymakers, and then rank your research with what you'll be suggesting. So I think that's how I can reply to that question.
Oh, great. Thank you. I appreciate that you are encouraging youth to get involved in research, and exactly why, because the research can have an impact. It needs to have an impact on policy issues. So thank you for bringing that up. So Tassian, I haven't forgotten about your hand up, but I want to go to another question in chat that's been sitting there for a little bit from Peter. He made a comment here. Rwanda has so far marked its tag on a global realm for innovating its own homegrown solutions to problems. How do you think we can engage the Rwandan spirit in climate action to climate change? So I'm just going to open it up for any of the three of you to respond. You're welcome. Does anybody want to take? Go ahead, Grace.
Now I was going to share the fact that I don't know many things about. All I know is that currently Rwanda is on the front line, trying to really change everything so it can embrace the transformational economy. And one of the current examples that's really on the media and everywhere is the green transportation. So, for example, for me, I've been riding an electric bike since last year. I will say that this is the solution that's really working out. And we have private sector being engaged, and now we have cars that are electric, which is also good. And also in terms of having like finances for young people who want to invest or to do businesses in the green entrepreneurship. Currently, REMA has nominated BRD to be accredited in the GCA, which is the big bank for climate solution answers. And if all goes well, if BRD is accredited, this will be an opportunity for all the homegrown solutions to have like a secure finance to pilot their answers and also to scale up anything that's happening right now. I wanted to share that one. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Patrice or Iji, do you want to comment on Rwandan homegrown solutions?
Thank you so much. It was really a very tough question because I want to come back to the policy issue that one of my colleagues talked about, even Tassier talked about it. So we have also this research part to actually support why there should be this like green like entrepreneurship or green like a special consideration into like various sectors. But that is, for example, the reason why I see that there is no national or that I'm aware of, for example. So at least I'm not aware of that. I'm not aware of any nationwide solution that is being deployed right now, but I am aware of like individual entrepreneurs in the domain that are highly supported or that are attracting a lot of attention in various sectors. Especially when there is, at least for the agriculture, there is a movement that is already there as well, as in some of the sectors, like when you say maybe to produce with the locally made items, but also like this green paths for young girls. For we have a number of solutions, but deployed by individual entrepreneurs. So what we don't have right now is a national solution, like when you say Udehe or when you say another thing. but we can at least say in the agriculture that we have examples, like even this terracing, even these other areas that people are into, that the government is supporting. At least we can see examples that we have to make research and support that, and even make even more that even more vibrant, so that our country can like dive into that as a movement. Thank you.
Yeah, that last part you mentioned made me think about a colleague of mine at University of Rwanda, Nathan Terengwa. He has a paper out recently looking at traditional knowledge and climate change and biodiversity conservation. So sort of like traditional knowledge and nature-based solutions, essentially. So he was looking at different traditional knowledge systems and how they contribute or could contribute to solutions that could be scaled up. So I think there's a big opportunity there. And then, as you said, there needs to be some research on that to see how effective it is and how it could be scaled up. But it's a really great question. So thank you for that one. There's another comment to the panel from Mapendo. He is asking, what would those opportunities be in terms of examples so that a young person willing to apply or live their passion in green entrepreneurship could embrace? How easy do banks offer money to young people without a mortgage, for example? How would you advise enthusiastic youth to get involved?
So I have replied to that very specific question in the comments. I said we have many organizations in the entrepreneurship development space in Rwanda that are offering training, coaching, mentorship, incubation, access to finance, and they take youth, young people as a special category, and youth should be clever while joining those. And as they join, they can position themselves in green entrepreneurship, and this can make them even more attractive, as they mentioned that as their innovation part. Because the world now knows that this climate change is a real problem, and that we are all facing. So when you position, when you are pitching your idea, and you are making it as a case, so you will be heard. So I've participated in many competitions, and I can assure you that when you explain clearly and you position yourself into that, it will make you as the best innovator in the league. Thank you. And
that's great.
He asked me about my email, and I shared it. So he asked me inbox, but I shared it publicly.
Yeah, great. I was just going to say, for people interested in following up with you on those contacts for the incubators and that kind of thing, Patrice did put his email address in there. So thank you so much, Patrice. So Tassiem, thank you for being so patient. You have a question or a comment?
Thank you so much, moderator. Actually, it's not really a question. It was about a comment from what Carissa was saying regarding the research. Actually, we really need research in this domain, because if we don't have research findings that really can convince people to change their orientation or to review some plans or strategies, we cannot really achieve the main goal. For instance, as our program, Youth in Agroecology and Business Talent Track Africa, recently we are working on a policy brief, agroecology policy brief, that will focus on an increased attention for youth and agroecology research, policy agenda, and educational curricula. Why are we doing this? It's because we have been discussing with Minagri and Irema how they can really involve youth in this domain and do agroecology as a business. But they ask, how can we convince us that the business can be profitable in this subsector? So this is why we are trying to collect some information, but also to convene power of multi-stakeholders to work together through this journey. And for sure, there are a lot of opportunities out For instance, there was an opportunity from UNDP and Binagri that was really giving grants to youth who have good ideas, who have really innovative ideas regarding the green entrepreneurship businesses. So from this point, I do call a lot of the youth to think about their ideas, to understand the positive, the results, but also to understand the outcomes. Then the opportunities are available. Finance means are always available, but on a competitive approach. So I really encourage them to start and act now. Yeah, thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Eugene?
Yeah, just commenting on that. Yes, I would encourage multi-collaboration. So normally, if you want opportunity, there's a lot of opportunity, but nowadays, even they found if you're applying for grants, they're always looking at collaborators. So you guys may find like working in agriculture, another environment, always try to have a project, try to involve multidisciplinary people, work together. I think that's now the key thing. I would also encourage for those who want to do research. Currently, we are establishing have a research lab. I have my own research lab. So if you always feel free to join, I will not charge you, and I will support in any case you want. So there's quite a lot of equipment you can use if you need the data. So I actually try to think how you collaborate with your colleague, not just say you sit alone on one project focusing. You can involve multidisciplinary areas, work with many people as much as you can, and that's how you make your powerful project instead of sitting with your unique company and work yourself.
Thank you. That's a great statement, AG. Thank you. So we're close to the time, 4:30, and I want to end on time. So I want to thank again our three speakers. I want to thank again the staff of the Center of Excellence in Biodiversity and Natural Resource Management for putting in the time to pull this event together, and the organizers at Bard College in USA for coordinating this. And we're going to make the intro video available and then other information given during this webinar. And I want to ask each of you that participated here today, what are you going to do as a follow-up to contribute to climate solutions? We all need to do something if we're going to see change happen and slow and stop the crisis that we're in. And there were some very interesting possibilities that came up. Grace invited people to join their youth initiative, which gets very much into the global negotiations that are occurring and the role of youth in that process. And also, AG talked a lot about getting involved in research, and he even offered for collaboration in his research lab. And you can pay attention to other researchers in the country, at University of Rwanda, at other institutions in the country that are doing research related to climate change and climate change solutions, and contact them and ask how you can get involved. And then also importantly is making the link between science and policy through policy briefs, through talking with policymakers and leaders, and getting that information out through social media and through webinars like this. And I also really appreciate the beginning theme that we had about making climate change a class and bringing this into every class in every discipline. And I got very inspired by that, and I think one step I can do is offer this to some of my colleagues at University of Rwanda in the social sciences or other areas where I know they may not have these kind of classes, to do a presentation and generate a discussion And Patrice gave a lot of inspiring information about tools and resources that are available for people to get involved. These incubation labs and other opportunities for youth. And so I encourage you to contact him as well. And I think you can also Google his organization and Visage. So again, I thank everybody so much for participating here. This is an incredibly important topic, and I hope that we can do more than just speaking in words here, but really continue and in some cases begin to take action in our work, in our daily life, and in our work in our communities to contribute to solving this climate crisis. So thanks everybody, and have a great afternoon. Oh good, I just need to read, oh Eve, thank you. What I would do to get more involved and make smart purchases while reducing consumption in materials. Excellent, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.